So what's this?
This is the Hand of Death.
Hand of Death.
Oh, it's the Golden Harvest.
It's a sign of Hong Kong quality right there.
So Hand of Death, 1976, Hong Kong. It's directed by John Woo. It's his fourth feature film.
Will there be doves in it at some point?
I don't think there is.
Oh,
it hasn't got to that yet. That was the 80s and 90s.
No dual-wielding guns?
No.
No doves?
Or motorcycles, obviously. It's a martial arts film. It's more traditional Shaolin disciples and monks and all that kind of stuff. Jackie Chan's in it.
Awesome.
It's actually, I think, one of his earlier films. He was only like 22 at the time, I think. He's in a supporting role, but he does get a bit of fighting in later on. The other name of note is Sammo Hung.
Because they trained together.
Yeah, and he was the stunt coordinator on this as well. You can always tell Sammo Hung because he's always been
He's that little bit
as
bigger.
stockier.
Oh, I remember reading the Jackie Chan's autobiography and he broke his ankle or something when they were in school and he never got it back after that.
Yeah. So it's set during the Qing dynasty and a warrior who's trying to rid China of the Shaolin attacks a group of disciples.
See what it has got is all those cool old sound effects.
The overemphasized sound effects, and whenever you see a parody of martial arts films, it's all those exaggerated sound effects.
It brings it together.
So we get into the action pretty quick in this. It's not wire work, it's more actual just...
This is actual martial arts.
Acrobatics, martial arts, ground-based martial arts. A survivor of the attack retreats up into a remote location and starts training. And he develops a fighting style called the goose fist fighting technique. He selects one of his best students to basically seek revenge and take down the warrior who attacked him.
Oh, listen to that soundtrack.
70s films you're gonna have really funky soundtrack, which is interesting because it's a story that's traditional Chinese, but it's got this funky 70s soundtrack on it, which adds to the charm of it.
It's almost porn.
And then he goes on this mission to find revenge, and that's where he comes across Jackie Chan.
A very young Jackie Chan.
In a scene reminiscent of Brokeback Mountain.
Who are you then?
Oh, me? I'm just delivering firewood.
You see anyone on your way up here?
That guy's voice doesn't match the picture at all.
They've got that American, sort of almost like that gangster. Oh, what are you doing, see? So you had another fight scene. One of the many great death scenes.
You got to work the scene for everything you can, don't you?
And now we have the backstory of one of the people they meet along the way, known only as Zorro.
As I recall, was famous. He had a reputation, particularly with women. He turned up a couple of years ago with just his sword and his flute.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that when I watched this.
This is a way with women, his sword and his flute. That seems to be a bit of a theme with him, his sword and his flute.
Well, look at the smirk on his face. He knows all about his sword and his flute and his way with women. Oh, I know. I'd faint if some guy swung a knife around my head, trying to cut my flower off.
Another fight scene with Zorro and his unsheathed sword.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the second time he's penetrated her in this movie.
This film has also got some great dodgy mustaches.
I noticed Master at the beginning's mustache was pretty serious, but the bad guy, he's in a whole other film.
I see.
It must be November. The other thing this has taken me back on is the old pan and scan. You just see that clunky clunk, zhunk, clunk, zhunk, zhunk. John Woo actually shows up in this film as well.
He's got a big career ahead. He's going to sell a whole lot of toothpicks.
And classic old man dubbing.
Oh, yeah.
I just hope that one day that bastard gets what he deserves.
It's obviously they didn't have an old man to do the dubbing.
Jesus.
That was a full-on hit. This is when Jackie comes into his own.
You can see he's better than the main two actors.
The whole sort of last 15, 20 minutes is almost one fight scene.
It's one of those movies that takes its time getting to it, but when it gets there, it delivers.
If you want your fix of martial arts goodness, like there's a massive chunk of it towards the end. And odd exits to boats.
Yeah. What is with the over-the-top deaths in this?
Well, it's what they're known for, these sort of films.
It's a good thing someone set up all those pots on the beach for people to fly into. You need someone walking through with a pane of glass.
Yeah, and a truck with all the
chickens,
the water bottles.
Yep.
The thing I always found interesting about Hong Kong cinema is with the fights how it looks really staged, but it flows really well.
That's a cool film. It took its time getting to the martial arts.
Yeah.
It had little bits, and then all of a sudden it just unleashed in the last 20 minutes.
As a martial arts film, it's got a lot in it. And old school 70s funky.
Oh, worth it for the soundtrack, the dubbing and the sound effects alone.
All up, you know.
That was an enjoyable slice of 70s Hong Kong cinema.
It's amazing how, even though the film's finished, like, still pulsating. I'm still getting a pulsating afterglow from the film.
Yes.
Must be the end logo.
It could be the end logo.
And the credits
could be the stage lighting.
Enjoyable.
Very enjoyable.
Good stuff.
You got to rewind and eject.
Oh, wow. Thanks for watching this episode of Below the Title. If you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to click that little notification so you know when we deliver more of this gold.